Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for yet another daily dose of dismal Disney. We're going to talk about Disney and this Fortnite thing. Remember when they made such a big deal about virtual Disney Fortnite land or whatever the hell they were doing?
Yes.
Well, it hasn't happened yet. We had AI Darth Vader, and that's about it so far. But now there's a story going around that apparently Epic, the CEO, the boss of Epic Games, not happy with Disney because they're taking too damn long to get a move on. And then Wall Street Journal ran with that. And then the CEO came out and said, no, I never said that.
Yep.
So there's a huge kerfuffle going on. And I think this is their first time working with Disney. Let's just put it that way. It's As people who have actually worked with Disney, closely with Disney, and I don't know how many other YouTubers in this space can make that claim, but we have worked closely with Disney. I will tell you that in every division of Disney we have worked with, the wheels turn very, very slowly.
Yeah. So
It's a big company.
Either this is like, completely untrue, or it's somewhat
Right.
true, and now we're backpedaling because Disney's going to be pissed.
I am thinking that is probably what's going on. Because, I mean,
we
they
don't know,
announced...
obviously.
We
Just
don't
from
know.
Our experience, it seems, knowing what we know.
Knowing what we know, they have to run everything through committee after committee after committee. The hoops we had to jump through just to do very basic things because of the size of the company. Now, I think they're more efficient if it's internal, but if they're dealing with outside vendors and stuff, it's painful. It
I
really
noticed
is.
like an article that you had to give approval of could take forever because they have to run it to so many different people. And if one person wanted to change, and they have to run it to people again. And it was like pulling teeth. It was terrible.
Well, that was like, we covered Gravity Falls and standards and practices. And I'm like, no, all of this tracks. Like, this is how they operate. Again, if it's internal, for the most part, I think they move pretty quick because they kind of know the drill, like the Disney way. But if they're dealing with a company like Epic, yeah, I can totally see it taking forever. I know when I've done licensed work for them, the approval process could take forever. And then like if somebody gets gone and you got to deal with a new person, then you got to start at the beginning again and go through all the layers. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
So let's see here. Let's go out to the original quote here. This was the response. Tim Sweeney, who's the founder and CEO of Epic Games. Somebody posted, this is Sheena, 1.8 million followers. I don't even know who this is. Newest Fortnite news and leaks. Partnered with Epic Games. Okay, I don't follow. You can tell I follow Fortnite very closely. Said, hey, the Fortnite Disney universe is expected to be released in fall of 2026. Multiple Epic executives are unhappy with the slow decision-making at Disney, which could delay the planned release date, according to insider sources via the Wall Street Journal, to which Tim Sweeney said the anonymous quote is BS. The speed of Disney and Epic collaborations like Darth Vader has been awesome and is around 10 times the ordinary speed of media company dealings in this business. We even provided a statement to the writer of this article saying so, but they chose not to print it.
Okay.
Interesting. So Wall Street Journal is also getting sued, I think, by Donald Trump over that birthday card thing.
Well, are they?
Yeah. So he also said, by the way, did the Wall Street Journal become a content mill without editorial fact checking? Saw it happen to Forbes, Newsweek, and others, but this is coming as a surprise. I think there's some truth to it. It might not be his personal opinion, but I think somebody at Epic was complaining about it.
I think so. I unless it was one of those cases, and I'm not saying it is, they just like let ChatGPT write us an article and they just made up stuff. Because sometimes if you aren't really careful about it, it'll just generate shit. So who knows? But
ChatGPT will seriously, like, if you ask it to, like, hey, could you summarize this? It'll make up quotes and be like, hey, is that a real quote? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me to interject what could be a potential quote from a potential person. And like, no, dumbass, just summarize what's going on. That's all you need to do.
That's why I was like, are we sure that's not what happened? I don't know. I'm just joking about it. But the guy in charge is saying that's not the case. And how he worded it though, if you read, listen to what he said. He's like, compared to other.
Yes.
Because it's moving fast comparatively speaking. Anything,
Yes.
and we've seen several actors and different people in Hollywood mention the wheels of Hollywood move way slow. So does the wheels of publishing. It's ridiculously, painfully slow. So in comparison to those things, it's moving faster. It does not mean it's moving fast.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're dealing with Disney and for it, going from announcement to reality in 2 years, remember, this is the same Disney that took 5 years to build a damn roller coaster.
They take forever to do anything. Because like we can tell you, it takes forever. And because you have to go through so many committees, so many departments. I don't know how it's working here, but it's plausible that it's taking forever. Yes.
Yeah. Or it could be that, Sweeney's not aware of the nuts and bolts of it because he's, the founder and CEO, but that doesn't mean he knows everything that's going on. And it could be that other people at the company are complaining about it. I don't know. And, the paper, if they actually have a source from Epic that's frustrated, they're going to protect their sources. If they're, worth a damn, they're not going to be like, yeah, we're going to throw this employee under the bus because you're totally going to fire them. Yeah. I'm sure somebody else will narc them out. But, anyway, this is coming from, International Business Times. It said he's not happy with the Wall Street Journal article. And this is the one that actually was about the AI. So they talked about it in the AI article. And, he said, yeah, Disney and Epic are working at 10 times faster. The Wall Street Journal's report allegation. They say, according to the report, the ambitious Disney Fortnite project is still in development and reportedly targeting a launch in autumn of 2026. Same article also alleged that several Epic executives have complained about Disney's slow-moving sign-off and approval processes.
It doesn't mean it was him. It doesn't mean it was him. It just could mean that people have commented to them complaining. And that doesn't, two things could be true at once. They could be complaining about this and saying that it's really slow. And he's saying, oh, it's faster than other places. He didn't say that it wasn't slow, though. You know what I mean?
Right. That is corporate speak for, yeah, it is. But shit, I guess we're doing better than other people.
And no, shit, I don't want to piss Disney off.
I don't want to piss Disney off.
I don't know that.
$1 billion, multi-billion-dollar thing.
This way he worded it. Oh, it's faster than other places. That's not the same thing as saying it's completely faster and everything. That's not what he said.
I know what it's like to work on 1 or 2 Disney properties at a time, and getting approval was like pulling teeth.
Oh my gosh! Remember the comic book?
Oh,
and then
yeah,
we talked about everything.
Yeah. That's that.
You can mention that. Just tell the story for anybody who's new.
Which one?
The test track. I was thinking the test track one, but you can mention the other ones too.
We have many examples. So for those of you who don't know, for those of you who are new, used to work closely with Disney on comics, on licensed comics and other stuff. And then we worked closely with them on the theme park side.
We were media, trusted media.
Trusted, vetted media and all that jazz, right? So we worked in and around Disney people we're talking probably 15 years straight of working with Disney.
Yeah, of different projects. Like
different kinds of projects, but it was at least 15 years. So we got to know the company and the culture pretty well. So yeah, the sign-off process is painful, but one that was particularly painful was I did some covers for I think it was it IDW? I worked for a whole bunch. Yeah. It was IDW, yeah. And one of the last projects I did too. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. But I did Test Track, right? So I did Scrooge McDuck and the Nephews on Test Track as one of their limited edition covers or whatever, and it was approved. And then it wasn't approved. And then it came back again. And then some other person looked at it and they're like, could you change this, change that, whatever. But the one thing they wanted me to change, which really stuck out, was they wanted me to take the guardrail off of the ride because they didn't want people to think the ride was unsafe.
Yeah, I did.
Let that sink in for a minute. Let that sink in. We don't want people to think the high-speed racing ride is unsafe. So take the guardrail off. And I did.
Didn't they make you something else, a seatbelt or something too?
I had to make sure that the ducks were all buckled in correctly. They had to be wearing seatbelts because we didn't want people to think the ride was unsafe. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's a good thing I didn't have Scrooge doing meth in the front seat like I was gonna do.
No, you weren't gonna do that. But he
But
was like, was he trying to catch something's flying out his dollar or something? He's trying to
his
catch
dollars are flying out.
But
He has money in his hat.
it was
I
like
think it's been
ridiculous.
years. I don't remember. It was
It was ridiculous, and I know we did articles before. And
2 months, I think, of back and forth on that.
which one, the cover?
One cover, 2 months of back and forth.
I know articles before that were supposed to be like ones that were, official ones. There was a whole like
AKA puff pieces.
yeah, and it was like you have to change this to say this. You have to change the wording here because we don't like the way it's worded, and make sure you have the trademark on this.
Oh
this,
my
and this.
God. Yeah. Epcot. Like we couldn't just say Epcot. It had to be like Disney's Epcot Center Resort and Spa for people who like Disney, trademark, copyright, TM.
Right? It was
italicized.
and
They had
get
the
it through
style
one
guide, the whole,
person.
holy hell.
You get it through one person, and then it was like, oh, well, this person in this department doesn't like this. So
That's
you start
exactly
over
what
again.
happened.
And like, I needed to put this article up. Like, you wanted it a week ago. It's not my fault.
I am like, you look at this and just in general, why is Disney in the place that it's in right now creatively? And I think there are too many people signing off on shit just to put a mark on something. And by the time a project works its way through the pipeline and they have all these people being like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, change that. It's so vanilla and so bland.
That's why I think with Star Wars end up like by committee and everything. It's all everything's by committee. And that's one of their biggest problems is there's so many checks and balances that they don't take risks. Now, I think that might be a little better now for the fact that they got rid of a lot of people. There's a lot of how many executive VPs do you need for each department and stuff like that. But so it wouldn't surprise me if people are legitimately complaining that it's taking too long to get approval because they're going to want to approve every little thing to make sure it's brand safe and all this other stuff. So do I believe that the random executives that are allegedly saying this? Yes, I actually do believe that. I'm not saying that's the case because I don't know. But in my opinion, hearing what they're saying, I think that's more likely than not. Based
on our own experience, I'd say, yeah. Because again, I wanted to say that we're dealing with like one property at a time. We're dealing with like Mickey Mouse and Scrooge and whatever. This epic universe that they're doing is like all the Disney characters across the entirety of Disney. So we're talking Star Wars, Marvel. God, just the amount of middle management red tape involved. I mean, it
makes my head hurt thinking about it.
Well, that was part of the problem with Disney Infinity too. As I understand, it was a pain in the ass. Like they had a good relationship with Disney, but like getting stuff. If I remember correctly, having an interview with a guy who worked on the game, it was like getting some of the stuff signed off on was difficult.
Yeah, because and if you're going across different things, like it's all owned by Disney, but it's all also separate IP and
brand managers for everything.
I don't think I'd want to do that. Thank you.
They're too big. And it's not like back in the day where it was like Walt made most of the decisions, right?
Yeah,
the buck stopped there.
Yeah.
And you had a couple underlings, and that's it. It's like, okay, just over at Marvel, they got like 50 layers of bureaucracy, and that's that.
And then knowing
Disney, I agree.
Knowing Disney, like when it comes to like Star Wars, for example, we want to go back to the classic characters because that's what people want, and they would be like, no, you have to go with whatever. You have to go with the Mandalorian and Grogu because that's our next movie, and you have to make sure it ties into this, and this for our next movie because brand synergy. And they'd be like, but people don't want that. Well, that's what you're gonna have to do. And that's why we end up with the bombs that we end up with.
Why was Lilo and Stitch when it came out? Plus that was a totally different Disney. Back then, the early 2000s, it was still Eisner era, but it wasn't as bad as it is now with Iger. But why was the original Lilo and Stitch such a breath of fresh air? I think that was kind of the result of like more of a singular vision, Chris Sanders.
Weren't they doing that one in Florida?
Yeah. So they're kind of removed from Burbank,
the Florida, they weren't watching them as closely,
Yeah. When you're in the backyard of the studio, like they're going to micromanage the hell out of everything. It was so weird. Like I talked to people like Florida, they were pretty open. Like in the theme parks, they were very they were human. They were very open. They still had the corporate thing, but you could tell they were, people. I went to Disneyland and I was talking to people at Disneyland, and I swear to God, half of the people there were like robots. And I think it's because Disney's, the Eye of Sauron Mickey is looking at them more closely.
Was it there or was it Florida when you had to interview people and they were just like, you were only allowed to ask the set questions that the people were programmed to answer?
Oh, that was, I want to say it was when they opened I think it was when they opened Toy Story Land. They had some
Toy Story, yeah.
Yeah, they had like some ambassador girl, and we all went in. They literally had a board, and we could pick like 3 questions off the board. So you wonder why these interviews with people when they're doing the press junket or whatever for Marvel or for why they're so sterile. It's because they're probably only allowed to ask the same 10 questions because that's what they have pre-programmed answers for. And she sounded like a damn robot. I mean, she did. Like, she was like, I asked her a couple questions. I'm like, that's great. I'm not going to use any of this in an article because nobody's going to give us shit because everybody else is getting the same answer.
Answers and questions. Yeah.
Yep.
So do I believe that people are frustrated because Disney is dragging it all out and they're worried about hitting deadlines? Yes. In my personal opinion, I completely believe that, even though the guy from Epic says it's not true. No, actually what he said was it's faster than other places. He didn't say it wasn't exactly true so much as it was. I mean, he did, but he didn't. You know what I'm saying?
He got phone call. He got phone call from somebody.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, they can act quickly when they think there's going to be bad press involved. We learned that too. Like you will go for weeks, sometimes months without hearing from anybody at Disney. But if you fuck up, you'll hear from them in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
I shit you not. That happened to us one time. But again, it's another stupid article. We didn't use the proper name of, I forget what it was, but like we used the shorthand, the colloquialism. And we didn't use the proper name of a something. I think it was that VR thing, whatever. And within 10 minutes, I swear to God, you need to change this because that's not what we actually call it. I'm like, oh, for
it's true.
Everybody knows what we're talking about.
All of it. We're wrapping this up.
We're wrapping this up. So there we go. I think this is true. I think 100% that there are people that are very frustrated at Epic. They're dealing with Disney. I don't think they knew what they were getting themselves into. And anybody who's worked with them in any capacity could tell you this is just how it is.
Yep.
This is why everything is the way it is at this company. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.